Hi, and welcome to National Trail Esports. This video is an explanation for parents and community members exactly what we're doing with bringing esports here to National Trail local schools. So, what are esports? Esports are electronic sports or games that are competitive in nature and played either individually or as a team. And in the case of here at Trail, we'll be playing them all as a team. And they're very versatile, and there's a whole bunch of different kind of games that we can use. We're going to look at a short video on exactly what esports are.
Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and today we're discussing esports. This video is not intended for people that are familiar and know this topic inside and out, but rather for folks that don't know what this means or don't understand its significance. So if you're in the first category, share this video with someone in the second category. What does the term esport mean? It's literally short for electronic sports, meaning video games that can be played competitively, either as an individual or as a team. This idea of competing has existed since video games themselves have existed. We had people playing Space Invaders to beat the high score. Arcades were places where heroes could be made, people breaking records and becoming local celebrities. When PC gaming became popular, this is where people began to play against strangers, people who could be in other countries even. This launched the era of international icons, teams and players that could claim to be the best in the world. We jump forward to now. This is not a history lesson. There are many games that are considered esports. They have tournaments and prizes and plenty of chances for people to compete. If you're a developer and you can find a way to make your game competitive, this can extend the lifetime of a game considerably. However, many games tout themselves as an esport, but if they don't gain traction, their competitive scene is not strong, and this could make or break the reputation of a game. Now let's look at some prime examples. One of the most well-known is something called League of Legends, which I have an entire video describing. This game was released formally in 2009 and has been supported since, with competitions and tournaments around the world. The 2016 World Championship for League of Legends attracted over 43 million viewers online, and the prize pool was over $6 million. This is their job. These people that travel and compete, they are sponsored by companies with endorsements that can support them financially between competitions. The latest estimate is that over 100 million people play League of Legends in an average month. This game was created and sustained by Riot Games. League's biggest competitor is called Dota 2, short for Defense of the Ancients. Dota's latest tournament, held at the Key Arena in Seattle, gave over $9 million to the winning team alone, plus millions more to the runners-up. This competition was streamed across the internet as well as being aired on various ESPN channels. Esports don't always look like this genre of game. A recent example is Overwatch, a team-based shooter that has gotten much traction, from Blizzard, the same company that created the games Warcraft and Starcraft, both of which I have videos describing. Check out the description if you're curious about those games. Now, like actual sports, these competitive teams have staffs of trainers and scheduling coordinators. They're also owned like sports teams are, some with very notable owners including professional athletes like Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, and Alex Rodriguez, who all own or co-own their own teams. Since this can be a lucrative career, many young people might want to pursue this to live the dream. They likely start playing young and might even choose universities that have prestigious esports programs or teams. It's becoming more and more common for universities to treat these competitors as other athletes are, meaning there are significant scholarships for these athletes to attend a given university, knowing that a successful team can boost that university's prestige at an international level. But also, like professional athletes, injuries can be devastating. A wrist injury might ruin your career at just 20 years old. A case of carpal tunnel could cost you millions. The injuries might be very different, but the effect is just as significant, hence why they might focus on conditioning and training for intensive gaming. So in a nutshell, this is a legitimate movement and doesn't show any signs of slowing down. It's a billion-dollar industry and one that you'll likely see more and more of as it gets more and more mainstream coverage. Do you play any games competitively? If so, let me know in the comments. Hopefully you found this interesting, and thanks for watching.
Okay, so that's basically esports in a nutshell. We're going to talk about a little bit which games and what things we're going to be doing here at National Trail. But we've joined a group called eSports Ohio, which is a nonprofit made up of over 100 schools at this point that are playing competitively. It's considered, because it's in the second year, as an emerging sport, and OHSAA is looking at it to become a actual varsity sport at some time in the future, and we're kind of getting in at the beginning of that. So we're a member of eSports Ohio. Their vision is basically to bring esports into the forefront of schools and to allow students those both educational and group opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. So some of the things that are their goals, that we're embracing many of these as our goals here at National Trail, to add an extracurricular, to increase different opportunities for the students, to make some curricular ties between education and esports. And those are going to be some of the things that we do in some of our meetings and talk about. We're going to obviously be promoting a positive experience here in the schools, working on student social skills, working together. And it's a great inclusion thing for all kinds of students here at school. And in some cases, get students ready to prepare to use that at a university level, and hopefully to get some scholarship opportunities. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. So why do we want to bring it to the high school? Unlike other sports that have restrictions based on physical abilities, anybody can participate in an esport, so it's open to a wider student population, and it gives a way for non-traditional athletes to compete and learn and work together at their school in new ways. And hopefully we're going to help them develop some skills that will help them in life in the future, and those are some of those things there. So we've also learned that being part of an esports team, from the research, shows that the teams have more personal growth, have higher GPAs, are more likely to be happy at school, and more likely to complete high school and graduate. And research has also shown that there's positive benefits for students when it comes to participating in video games and learning. And these are just some of those things in the research that's been done on those. So it is a real sport. ESPN did a research article on the effects of esports. So I'm going to play that for you as well. Maybe. There we go.
League of Legends is a video game that requires strategy, quickness, and precision. So to analyze what it takes to be one of the top-rated League of Legends gamers in the world, we brought phenom Po Belter into the ESPN Sports Science Lab.
Oh, eat that guy, eat that guy.
I'm eating him. Am I eating him?
No, you're not eating him.
By equipping Po Belter with a bioharness and a high-tech eye tracker, we'll be able to monitor his vitals and eye movement while he's gaming. Po Belter's resting heart rate is about 75 beats per minute, but just moments before he starts the game, his heart rate spikes to 140 beats per minute, which is good for improving gross motor skills like running and jumping, but can be detrimental to fine motor skills like typing. So like Olympic sharpshooters who control their heart rate before firing, once the game begins, Po Belter's heart rate drops by 42%. Data from the eye tracker reveals that in the heat of battle, Po Belter is constantly scanning the screen. During an invasive move, his visual fixations last, on average, just 0.167 seconds. And on the defensive, he takes in information even faster, with his eyes moving every 0.07 of a second. That's a span of time more than 3 times faster than it takes the average person to read a single word. But to dominate League of Legends takes more than fine motor skills and quick visual processing. It also takes serious strategy. We gave Po Belter a Wonderlic test, the same test NFL players take before the draft. And he crushed it, scoring about 70% higher than the average NFL quarterback. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
Okay, so just to get some numbers here, this is how many participated uh, in eSports Ohio and where exactly that's at. You can see where this was in the fall of 2019, and obviously we're not showed on there yet because we haven't finished our registration. They're looking for more teams in this area, and I said, hey, we're in that area. So we're going to be adding varsity, JV, and club opportunities for students as part of eSports Ohio. As far as college opportunities, these are colleges just in the state of Ohio that offer uh, esports programs as well as scholarship opportunities, but the list is even larger for that. This is the list right now of schools that have esports programs and esports scholarships. So it's not just about, hey, they're playing the game, but they are also getting opportunities that they may be able to get follow on with when they go to college and hopefully get additional college money through that as well. So the cost, though, here locally, what does it cost? Well, the district's supplying the coach, the PC systems, the area to compete, which is going to be the library, high-speed internet, and the students are going to have to buy the license for the one game that they're going to be playing called Overwatch, which is approximately $15. I actually just bought it for $13 the other day. And they're going to have to supply their own gaming headset or earbuds that have a mic. You can get that for actually less than $10. You can get really, really nice Bose ones for several hundred. So I'm not saying students need to do that, but they have to provide a headset. Optional gear, right now we don't have gaming chairs, but we may look into that in the future because the chairs that we have are not really built for what we're using. Students can bring their own keyboards and mice if they have gaming keyboards and mice, as well as mouse pads. And we're going to look into uniforms for the team here in the future. Most of the teams that we looked at, or actually all of the teams that I looked at the recent Ohio Educational Technology Conference, had jerseys and numbers, and their team was pretty official, and it looked really fun for what they were doing. This is just an example of what some of the esports areas that schools have set up look like. We're going to be using the library. We're going to be kind of adding some decoration there. As well as some LED lighting to try to make it look like a really nice game arena for the kids. The one thing we're not going to have initially is gaming chairs, but like I said, we will look into doing that in the future. And here's some of the other areas that places have set up, and you can see that not all of them have gaming chairs, although every one they showed a picture of except for these two did. And here's another set of showing kind of how they're going to do it. And just so you know, for our area that we're going to have set up at the library, we are going to be projecting like this school did on our LCD screen so that if parents or other students want to come in and watch and see what's going on, they'll be able to do that and see an overview of whatever the varsity and JV teams are doing on the two projectors that I'm going to have set up so that they can come in and see exactly what it is. And we want to really open that up for other people to come and watch and participate. So, student eligibility, anybody is eligible that is at least 13 years of age, has parental consent, and meets the school athletic eligibility, and has to be enrolled in a school in the state of Ohio. Per the OE or eSport rules, they have to be enrolled in the school that they're participating with, so you can't have any students coming in from another school district to join our team. They have to be actually enrolled at National Trail to participate. As far as when we're going to be practicing, our practices are going to be Mondays and Tuesdays, starting at 2:40, basically right after school, till 5 p.m. with we'd like everyone to be picked up at 5 p.m. Or leaving at 5 p.m. Our meets are also on Mondays and Tuesdays. The meets have to begin by 4 p.m. Basically, our setup is 3:30. The games themselves, the tournaments themselves will start at 4. If we're not ready by 4, we automatically forfeit. So here's the schedule for the beginning of the 2020 school year. It's obviously going to change for the fall and then for the next school year. But this is the way it looks. Our registration of our teams ends a week later. Scrimmages start, and a week after that, we have 7 weeks of contests with other schools. eSport Ohio does all the matchup stuff to figure out, and then we have a a spare week to make up if any of these were canceled because of spring break or something between the schools. So that's what that makeup week is for. And then there's 2 weeks of postseason tournament to determine who's going to go to the state championships at the University of Akron in June. And I believe they said it's top 16 schools are going to be competing at that to determine who takes home the trophy of best esports team in the state of Ohio. And I think I already said this. Monday is League of Legends. So during this week, on Mondays, we'll be doing the League of Legends competitions. And on Tuesday is Overwatch. So those are the two games. Basically, the first game is League of Legends. It's been around for a long time. I think since 2014, it's been an esports game. League of Legends is one that's played in collegiate level, which is why we're doing this one, so that if students kind of level up and get their accounts up, they have an opportunity in college. This one is completely free. It's rated teen, which is why everything's rated teen that we're doing, or better. That's why everybody has to be at least 13, but they also have to be in high school. So, and it says their matches take 25 to 50 minutes, and basically it's the best out of 3. So at 4 o'clock we'll start a match. When that one's over, we'll start another match, and if it's one-on-one, or then we'll play a third match. If not, it'll be over after 2 if us or the other team wins the first 2 matches. It says 50 minutes max. It can go far past that. They said there was one that was 3 hours last year. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And if you want to, there's lots of things on eSports Ohio website to look more into that game itself. It's basically a third-person game, 5-on-5 players played from an overhead view. And then the other game is called Overwatch. Overwatch is 6 versus 6. It's a first-person cartoony shooter game. Everyone has you can see kind of all these cartoony-looking characters. You pick your characters and then play one team versus the other. It says cost of $20. Actually, like I said, I found it for just $13 the other day, so I think under $15 is more like it. This one, every student has to have their own account because they'll take it with them, and in order for them to be able to practice and play outside of school hours, they need a school account as well. So those are the 2 games that we're going to be playing, and that's what we're going to try to do here at National Trail. If you go to the eSports Ohio website, and all you have to do is Google eSports Ohio, there's all kinds of resources there, and we welcome anyone to come to our practices Mondays and Tuesdays in the National Trail Library. Thanks.